Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, I think it's just turned 6:59, so we will get started. We're going to start early tonight. Surely we'll see. But listen, we're going to get started, and as others, one or two more might be coming on, we'll let them jump in. But my name is John. I'm one of the 2030 Vision Bolton leadership team. There's about 12 people that are just trying to pull together lots of different things with churches together in Bolton. And one of the reasons I'm on tonight is because I'm part of the leadership development team, helping others work with churches, helping churches really through a tough COVID time. So at the back end of last year, we did 4 seminars on a number of different things. Now that we're coming slowly, hopefully, out of COVID, the team got together and thought, well, how can we best help churches? And you guys gave us some suggestions on what we could do. And so tonight we're just looking at how media, the different resources, how we can help churches coming out of COVID just maximize their resources. And these guys probably wouldn't say they're experts, but they're probably far more expert than any of us are. We've got David and Erin, David from Grace Church, Erin Foster from the Bridge Church, helping to lead this. So they're just going to take us through probably about 30-35 minutes, just in a bit of a presentation of different things that we might find helpful. And then we're going to save the last 15-20 minutes for any questions that you might have. Unfortunately, we weren't able to activate the chat room here, but these guys will let you know, I'm sure, that if you need to ask a question or pause at any point, just raise your hand and they'd be happy to ask any questions. So before I hand over to them, I am just going to pray and we'll commit our time to God, and then we'll let them get straight into it. So let's pray. Father, I thank you for the great responsibility and the great call, the great mission that you call each one of us to, and that's to serve through the church, our communities, and to, Lord, just touch people, especially at this time, to be your hands, your feet, your voice. And God, we want to do that to the very, very best of our ability. And I just say thank you that these guys are on tonight because they want to learn how to make the most of the technical opportunities and the technical equipment that we can have so that we can do the very best that we can in reaching our community. So God, I just pray that for Dave and for Erin tonight, you just give them real clarity of thought, clarity of explanation. Lord, for those of us who are listening, just help us to have a clear understanding. May also, towards the end, if we've got questions, just be able to ask good, clear, concise questions, again, just to help us utilize all that we have to the best of our abilities for you. So, Father, just be with us in all that we do tonight, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. So listen, thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Dave and Erin now. Sorry, one last thing, just if you didn't catch it, this is being recorded, okay? So just to make that clear from the start, it is being recorded. So Dave, I guess I'm handing over to you, Pastor Adnan. And
will it be possible to have this recording for future? Yeah.
Yes. So what I can do is
details, yeah.
I will save it and then I can send you the link to it. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Okay, Dave. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, John. Thanks for the introduction. Welcome, everybody. Good to be with you this evening. As John said, my name is Dave. I lead the team at Grace Church Bolton that's based in Heaton, just near Bolton School. So I'm just going to give, I guess, a quick. John's explained how the evening will run, and so if you think of any questions as we're going, jot them down, and then we'll sort of try and give an opportunities to answer questions at the end as well if you have them. But write them down so you don't forget them. I have that problem sometimes. I come with a great question and then I've forgotten it by the time it's question time, and it's too late. So what this evening is, and it isn't actually, this evening isn't a tech workshop. So if you're coming with thinking, oh, we're going to find out about what tech to use, or that's what you come for, then I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed by this evening. That's not what our aim to do is this evening. We're not going to tell you what you can buy or what you can't buy, because there's so many variables down to what your situation is, what you've got, and what you want to do. So that would be a sort of long conversation. But if that is something that you feel you need help with within your context, then we do have the names and numbers of a few people around Bolton in other churches that might be able to help you out, sort of might be able to guide and direct you in that. So if that is something, just let us know at the end, and then we'll put you in touch with a few people that we do have numbers for. So Erin and I are going to just take turns this evening, just doing a little bit each at a time. So I'll start with just telling you a little bit about me, and then I'm going to ask you all to just you can have 20 seconds each, 20 seconds, just to tell us a bit about who you are and what you've been doing in regards to online church or hybrid church, or what have you been doing online, anything or nothing. So I'm the leader of Grace Church Bolton. As I said, I took over the team leadership 18 months ago. And on a Sunday morning before COVID, we'd probably gather between 60 and 80 families in our building. We've been streaming online only since the pandemic hit last March. So before that, we weren't doing online church, and then initially started doing pre-recorded Sundays, so like a full packaged Sunday morning, and then putting that onto YouTube. We slowly progressed sort of from that into live mornings. So the majority of our meeting on a Sunday morning now is as a live meeting, apart from our worship, which is again pre-recorded at our building by our worship team, and then built into our live Sundays. So that's a bit about me and what we're doing as a church. So we'll just go around. I'll just ask people to share as I can see you on my screen. And then if you just want a quick 20 seconds of who you are and what your current situation is. So Julia, if you wouldn't mind unmuting and telling us, please.
Hi, Dave. Thanks very much. I'm Julia Gordon from Christchurch Harwood. I'm assistant curate there. And our situation is we are hybrid, but we record the sermon and the type up the prayers and everything else and put it on the website and on YouTube. We haven't got the facilities to streamline, but we would love to do that, because obviously when this is all over, we will continue to do the online stuff because that's reaching so many more people. So yeah, we're also sending out printed versions to those who aren't online, so we try and cover everybody.
Great, thank you. Reverend Adnam.
I'm team vicar in the West Bolton team, and I'm in Bolton for about more than 13 years as a team vicar. And then I have pre-recorded about 5 worship videos which were uploaded on our West Bolton team YouTube channel. And we are in a process to streamline, but still we are using our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Jill?
Hi, I'm Jill. I'm an associate minister in the Horwich and Rivington team based at St Elizabeth's. I'm also a chaplain at the University of Bolton. But we've been doing a pre-recorded Facebook service right since the beginning of lockdown last year. And we've also been doing, which is also put onto YouTube, and we've also been doing Zoom services. We don't have the facilities to live stream, but that is a possibility for the future.
Well, thank you. Ian?
I'll let Graham talk about what we're doing. I'm here actually. I'm going to be disappearing in a minute, but I'm coming back at the end because John's invited me to talk about what we're doing on the radio. So I'm doing the very end of this session, hopefully talking to you about what the radio is doing and all of that stuff. But if I could hand over to Graham, Graham will tell you about what we've been doing at Harwood.
Yeah, do you want me to go now? Yeah, carry on now. Yeah, Ian mentioned the radio. Obviously, you know that Ian and Sue Snowden are on the radio on a Sunday morning, and we have a virtual coffee afterwards. Is that right, Ian?
Yeah.
That's the best way of describing it. So following on from that, our church in Harwood, has a virtual coffee following on from that, and also an evening service which is virtual. I suppose I was going to say primarily over Zoom, but it's on Zoom, but it's available on YouTube and through Facebook as well, so people can interact through Zoom in the appropriate places, but also people who don't maybe use or like Zoom have, you know, there's other ways of accessing.
Right.
I'm particularly here because, as you'll know, we've got a new church building in Harwood that's soon to be opened, and we've got a number of groups looking at different things, and I'm looking at the I'm facilitating the communications discussion around what kind of communications we want, and that obviously that incorporates things like online. So that's one of the reasons that I'm here.
Good stuff. Thank you, Stephen.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Stephen Tong. I'm the ecumenical and community liaison for Kearsley Mount Methodist Church. We've been live streaming, actually. We've done about 16 live streams, about 6 previous to Christmas, and about the last 9 weeks we've been live streaming from church. Done this by just teaching myself and finding out and watching videos on YouTube and things like that. So the reason why I've come in tonight is to see how I can improve things. We're getting there on a wing and a prayer, as you might say, at present, but it's working. It's working. Just one little thing. I utilised an old VHS camera that I'd kept. I bought a lead off the internet for about 10 quid to change it to digital signal, and it works okay. The quality is not brilliant, but we do get a live service out, and we upload to YouTube as well on the Sunday, the recorded version.
Great. Thank you, Stephen. And lastly, Mark.
Hi there, I'm Mark Curtis. I lead Passion for Jesus, or PFJ for short, which is a network of churches. And our churches have all most likely done a bit of everything. So a bit of sort of live streaming, bit of the pre-recorded stuff, and also some of them have done the Zoom stuff as well. And I'm here because always open to learn and develop, particularly in these areas. And I think for us, similar to a lot of others, it was something we weren't practicing before COVID. It sort of just kicked in when COVID kicked in as well. So we've been on a journey, a learning curve.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, guys. So I bet YouTube has been well used over the last year in how do I live stream my church service. I bet that's one of the biggest hits that have been going down. So I hope this evening you are going to be inspired. I hope that you're going to be helped. I hope that you are going to be given some little nuggets that you can take away and put into action into your places. So I'm just going to hand over to Aaron, and he's going to lead through the next little bit after introducing himself.
Okay, please excuse me. I'll come back about 10 to. See you in a bit.
Thanks, Dave. So my name's Aaron. I'm from the Bridge Church in Bolton with John, and formerly youth and children's minister, but recently been overseeing our online church over the past few months as well. So that's brought me to here, and hopefully we can all learn a bit from each other this evening as well. So we're going to start this evening talking about why online church. So the reasons of why we are online, and obviously it's always a good place to start with why, isn't it? I think a bit of the journey that most of us will have been on, and obviously you've shared different bits that maybe kind of clarifies and agrees with that with our online church pre-COVID, so before last February, March time, that most churches' online presence would have been possibly a Facebook page, possibly a website, possibly a recording of your message, something like that. Maybe there's some content being sent out with whether it was text, email, or videos of things or audio recordings of messages, things like that. But for the vast majority of churches, I think that was the maximum of it. It was a bit of information kind of passed to help people remember when things were on, to people reminder of when you've got midweek meetings, things like that, to let people know those kind of different things, and generally a bit of information or catching up on the message if you've missed it. I hope that's kind of where most people were up to, kind of pre-COVID, and the reasons there were quite small. It was generally a bit of extra, wasn't it, for most churches being online there. Then obviously COVID hit, and for us as churches, we didn't have a choice, did we? We couldn't meet in person. Everybody had to go online. People were trying different things. We're kind of scrambling around, working out what can we do, what's the best way we can still get a church service to people at home, what's the best way we can still connect with people, and obviously online was the only option for quite a number of months. So it obviously forced everyone to start this journey in a new way as well. But that was the reason then for being online. It was our only option, wasn't it? And then we kind of entered into this new season. So we, as the church leadership team at the Bridge, we began discussing this around September time. So as lockdowns are coming to an end, as people are coming back into church services and looking forward to that, we started then discussing, actually, what is our online church going to look like in the future? What are we going to continue doing as people can come back into the building? Obviously, we had second lockdowns after that, and it was kind of put back a bit, but the principle is obviously still the same for us now, as people are coming back into church buildings, people coming out of isolating, of being at home, that in the coming months there's going to be a different feel, and I think a different reason for being online church as well. So we began that discussion. How does why are we online as a church? If everyone can come back in the building, we don't have to be online. People can still access the building. So why, as a church, are we online? Why do we do that? And that's the question as well. How does this link with our vision as well? So one of the key things I think that we kind of decided and discussed as ministers then was that online church doesn't change your vision or purpose, it expands it. So online church shouldn't change your vision or change your purpose as a church, but it should expand it. So for us as the Bridge Church, our vision is to be a light on a hill, transforming our communities one person at a time. You will have with church vision or mission statement or however you kind of word it, but you'll have no reason. This is what we are doing, what we're aiming to do as a church. The online church doesn't change that, but it should expand it, and it should kind of repurpose it for you. So we then began those discussions of how does that impact what we do online. So if this is our vision statement, this is what we are still trying to do, what does that then look like online? How can we expand our vision through using online means and different things like that? So ask yourselves that question when it's discussing with the people, that how does online church expand your church's vision? How does it grow that? How does it repurpose it? How does it bring it to more people, bring it to different people at this time? So for us, for that church vision, just to give you a few examples of how that has worked over the past year and how it's kind of looking to work in the future. So for one thing, outreach, for us being a light on a hill, outreach into as many people as possible with our Alpha course. We did Alpha courses online throughout the year, which we hadn't done before. And the demographic of people on those Alpha courses changed quite a bit. So usually we would have a lot of people that would come through like our debt counselling or addiction things or job club, things like that, that people that were struggling in different ways in life that then would have been invited to come on the Alpha course. But we realised that when we did this online Alpha course, that the demographic, we got a lot more professionals on, a lot more people that were working more hours and things like that, and actually being able to do something like that at home actually meant we got a wider range of people to do the Alpha course as well. More connection points for people, that we had more people using connection means that they didn't use before, so things like our website, through YouTube and things like that, more ways for people to connect with the church and people finding us from different places that we'd not kind of realised people would find us from as well. more effective communication with the church congregation as well. So we realized we could actually be a lot more intentional with who we're connecting with, how we're connecting with them, the times that we're connecting, and the exact communication we want to get to people at the exact time, and being really specific with that as well. Another one as well, which is really good. So we run a young leaders development course called Bridge Academy, and since we've been online, a lot less of them have missed sessions. That when you've got to come and turn up for the building, that often a lot of people miss it or can't make it for different reasons. But as we've been online, a lot more of those have attended sessions, things like that. So those elements of your vision, whether it might be training or developing or discipleship, that there is actually a place for online things in that as well, not just your kind of Sunday morning service, but think midweek, think every different ministry that you've got, how can actually using online tools benefit and help your vision be expanded in that as well. So just for that first bit to really, whether it's something you can do after or with your other leadership teams or people, to really discuss actually how does our vision, how is that lived out? How does online church enhance that? How does it make it more effective? How does it expand our vision at this time as well? So yeah, thanks, Dave. Hand back to you.
Great, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, so I think one of the key things Aaron spoke about then was about leadership, and I think he mentioned their leadership team as well. And I think team is a massively important thing in this, and the weight of it should not be all upon one person's shoulders, or shouldn't be one person's role to do. But it's, I think, vitally important for us to have more than just you, or more than just the person who you're going to delegate this to, just to them to take everything, because you know that stuff flows downhill, doesn't it? Whether it's vision, whether it's well, whatever it is, what we're trying to portray to our churches, what we're trying to encourage people with. If people see their leaders excited about something, if they see that they're giving their time and effort to something, people come along with that as well, and other people get excited about that. So if we as church leaders in positions of leadership are excited about it, then that will encourage the church to be excited about it as well. And as we discuss these sorts of things in leadership teams, actually you'll find that other people sometimes have better ideas than you, or other people have different ways of seeing things from different life experiences, which is, it's always helpful to have that sort of multifaceted view of what things are going to reach what people. So yes, online stuff is great, but does that mean that we should do nothing in person and everything online? Totally not. But it's sort of working out what it looks like for each of us in our own situations, to be involved in both. How do we make the most of the online availability of stuff and technology, but also how do we make the most of the people that are there in person as well, without sort of having to lose the connection with people, or people having to miss out either way. So if the weight of everything is upon one person, that's going to wear one person out at the end of the day. And I think one of the things that I'm trying to do now, so I sort of led the way with our church in the technology side of things, and I'm just trying to sort of share some of that knowledge out a bit, really. And that's sort of what initially a leadership team is, a sort of sharing responsibility, and then hopefully trying to get others involved as well. And I think church involvement is again a massive plus, and something that we need to be pushing for, because as leaders we don't have to do everything. Yes, we have to lead the way, we have to set a good example, but actually we have to encourage other people as well to step into things, to step into roles, because if everything's down to the one or the two or the small team, or to the 20%, actually it's going to wear us out and burn us out. And I think technology opens up a lot of opportunities for people that may not have been involved in stuff in the church before, whether it be the young people that are just hot on the knowledge of social media and how to use the internet and things, and whether it be using their skill sets actually to to help push your social media, or whether it's using their skill sets to help stream your services live, or recording or editing and putting those things together. So we've got a handful of teenagers that I've been trying to encourage to take hold of the live streaming side of things on Sunday morning. So it's sort of their responsibility really. So I sort of show them how to do it and then let them get on with it. And we learn by making mistakes. We learn by what doesn't work sometimes. But it's trying to involve more and more people in the journey really. And there will be people that have more knowledge, a bit more experience than you maybe within your church. So we have to try and get as much of that out of people as we can, to glean people for what they know, and make the most of our congregations and the people that are regularly attending. And as well, just getting people involved in doing stuff. So if you've got somebody that looks after the chat, like we have someone that oversees our YouTube chat on a Sunday morning, just sort of welcoming people and saying hello and stuff. So whether it's something like that, and lots of people will be able to do that role and that job. And so it's thinking about who can we get involved to do this, and in what capacity. And then just in regards to finances, actually finances is a great way of getting the church involved as well. So we as a church, we don't have tens of thousands of pounds sloshing around in bank accounts for us to splash here, there and everywhere. So when the pandemic hit and we thought, right, this is something we want to push for, but then also thinking this is something we want to build into life in the future, sort of post-pandemic, and something we want to carry on doing. Actually, we thought, right, we're going to go to the church and say, this is our plan for the next year. And this is what we want to do, obviously with a rough idea of what we wanted to purchase and things we need to purchase to enable us to fulfill our vision for the short term. We went to the church and said, right, we're taking an offering up for this, and which the church responded really well to. And then I think people capture your vision, people get hold of your desires as a leadership team and as a church leadership, and people come on board with it. And we did that I recorded a video which we put out to our church members and just shared it with them, just to inform them about what we were doing the offering for and what their money was going towards and things like that. So really just catching the church up in the vision side of things, and using the people that are involved, the people that are going to benefit, the people that are going to see different ways of technology outworking itself on the week to week and the day to day. And people will get on board with you. I think if we're leading people from a place of stability, we're leading people from a place of faith, and leading people because we're passionate about more people finding Jesus. Actually, we'll find that the people in our churches that are wanting the same thing are going to get behind us and going to get behind you as the leadership of their church, and because they believe in you, because they see the faith in you, because they trust that God is in this. And actually, this is a great way of us expanding what we're doing. So it's another great tool of us that we can use to implement in our day-to-day church life. Back to you, everybody.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, so just moving on to talking about social media and engagement with social media. So the world that we live in now has obviously changed drastically over the past few decades. We've gone from a time when things were accessible at certain times and in certain places. So things like restaurants, fast food, supermarkets, they would have been open, closing at 7, 8 o'clock at night. Then if you've missed it, then you've got to either go to a garage or wait till tomorrow. I remember Christmas Eve, I was at my parents' house and planning to drive down on the Christmas Day morning, and realised I had no petrol left to do a 2-hour drive. So I ended up going to motorway services to fill up, and it was the most expensive fill up I've ever had. But we've moved from an age when things are accessible at certain times, that obviously now it's a 24/7 world, isn't it? That supermarkets are open 24 hours a day, McDonald's is open all 24 hours a day. any information we want, we can just go and access it whenever we want. We can find everything, can't we? And I think the journey of church is kind of slowly catching up with that as well. That church used to be a Sunday thing, that people would go and attend church on the Sunday, and then obviously do their best to live out their life as a Christian throughout the week until next Sunday when you meet together as church congregation again. But for now, church, I think, has got to think in the way that the world's, and think 24/7 as well. And the way we do that is through online church and massively social media. So we've been thinking about any content you put out, whether it is a live service, whether it is a pre-recorded message, that if that is put online, that someone could watch it there and then, someone could watch it tomorrow, someone could watch it in 9 months' time, someone could watch it in a year's time, and thinking about that, actually, that whether that you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but there's people that may search for things, or a preach on how do I deal with depression or something like that, and actually find something or find some content that you've put out 9 months ago, whatever, that's actually helped them in that time. So thinking social media is obviously 24/7. The vast majority of people are on social media. They're using it every single day, and thinking how we connect with people through that, and using that tool, using the world that we live in, where we can actually connect with people every single day of the week, with how we do church as well. Social media is, I think, one of the easiest and cost-effective ways we can connect with people at church. That any social media account is free. It literally takes your man hours, whether that's voluntary hours or paid hours, for someone to be on social media, whether that's creating the content, whether that's messaging people and talking to people through that. So I think the key with social media is to think engagement, not information. Think engagement, not information. So how can you engage with people, whether that's people who are already connected with your church, engaging them throughout the week, engaging with them regularly day to day, or engaging with new people that maybe you've never been to your church, never stepped foot in your building, but how can you engage with them as well? So through social media, obviously there's so many different things you can do, but communicate, there's obviously things like questions, polls, quizzes, messaging, and asking questions, wanting responses, that all different things on social media. There's good ways to connect. There's if you want to Google how to better connect with people through your Facebook page, just Google that. There'll be hundreds of articles that'll help you and think about how you do connect with people through social media, and better ways to engage people, that you don't just put posts out as information for people to see and they read it and think, okay, but actually to be sharing things, to be posting things that are going to help people engage with that. So one thing we do as the Bridge is we are aiming to connect people with our Sunday themes. So we've recently been doing a theme called Awe and Wonder, looking at the attributes and who God is, what God is like, the incredible awesomeness of God. So throughout the week there, we've been posting questions that are linking with that theme. So before the Sunday, people have already got it in their heads. Oh yeah, a reminder that the theme is Awe and Wonder, that we're thinking about God. So we asked people, what attributes would you rather be known for having? Would you rather be known for being honest or hardworking? And just putting things like that on our social media page is immediately there connecting people with what your theme is talking about on Sunday, and reminding them, if they've heard something on Sunday, thought, oh yeah, I really liked what that said, I really wanted to do this, I want to act upon that. But again, it's that connection throughout the week that doesn't just make it a Sunday thing, but helps that engagement for everyone within your church as well. The other thing is, for anyone that reaches out to your church through social media as well, to never feel awkward or think, they don't want to be bothered. But I think anyone that is likes our Facebook page or follows on Instagram or anything like that, that we will send them a message to connect back with them. That obviously there is a reason for people connecting with us, reaching out to us. So if anyone just likes our Facebook page, now one of our online team will send them a message, get in contact with them, just saying, hey, hope you don't mind us getting in contact with you. We've seen you liked our Facebook page. We'd love to connect with you. If you've got any questions, let us know. We'd love to chat more with you, basically. And just by doing that, we've had people then saying, oh yeah, I'd like prayer requests for this, or I've been watching your online service, it's been great, I'll join again this Sunday. And just then we've had about I'd say 75-80% message back rate from that. Was messaging people getting back in touch with positive messages, positive replies, actually saying, yeah, thanks for getting in touch. I've saw this on your service, I enjoyed it, or I'd really like prayer for this. So seeing it, I think seeing any kind of comment or any kind of like or any kind of share or anything that kind of connects with your church social media, is see that as someone reaching out to you. And if someone did that in person, if someone walked into your church and said, oh, I like your church, you'd enter a conversation with them. You'd say, hey, do you want to know more? What do you want to get involved in? Is there any way we can help you? You'd engage in that conversation, and you'd happily accept that feedback, wouldn't you, and that initial connection from someone. So see that as online in the best way that you can. I actually watched a seminar from America, and there's a woman on there who is she's a church pastor, part-time or voluntary, and then she works for Facebook full-time, and she was kind of saying about the best ways to do this, and their church goes as far as they have like an online member of the week, where they'll promote and honor the people that have been kind of connecting the most online, and just really doing literally everything they can to encourage that connection, to encourage people to interact in the best ways that we can. Yeah, the other thing is imagery. That would be probably one of the things that if you were to Google best ways to connect to people online, that people engage with images when they can see something, whether that's someone talking, sharing a video, talking about someone saying, hey, great to see you on Sunday, we're talking about this, we're doing this, or images of things people can see what has been going on in person, see those different things, use imagery as much as possible. And the other thing is to make it personal as well. For obviously we'll probably have church accounts, like a church Facebook account or Instagram account, things like that, but there's still a personal element to that, whether that's someone using those accounts by always putting their name, saying, hey, it's so and so, part of that team, but also your congregation playing their part as well. So whether that is sharing, if you've got videos on Facebook, encouraging your congregation to share that as much as possible, saying, hey, watch this video, really helps me with what I'm going through at the moment. Really getting your congregation to promote things as well. If you think about a builder coming to build at your house, who would you go to decide which builder you're going to get? You want a recommendation of a friend, don't you? Someone that has had that builder firsthand, that knows exactly what it's like. That for your church congregation members, they're the first-hand people that have got friends, that have got family members outside of the church, that a recommendation from them is so much better than a church account that's posting saying, hey, we're a great church, come and visit us. But a recommendation from a friend is so much more powerful, isn't it? And so much more kind of authentic and trustworthy, maybe. So yeah, I really encourage your church congregations to play their part in that way as well, through sharing, through connecting with people, through commenting, and all of that helps more people see, helps more people engage with your church. So yeah, the key thing there, I think, is really think 24/7. Think how can we can never be not be in the building Monday, Tuesday, whatever, but there still could be engagement. There can still be connection going on between your church members, between new people, between existing ones, with what you're talking about, with what you're preaching at different times as well. Yeah, Dave.
Cheers, mate. I think one thing to add on there is about regularity as well. Because I don't know if you're aware, but sort of Facebook algorithms and Instagram algorithms will show more people stuff if you are regularly posting stuff. So that people are more likely to see it if you're doing one post a day rather than one post a month. So the more regular that you are, the better it is for your output on social media, for the impact that you'll get. I just want to spend the last couple of minutes before we go to Q&A just talking about evangelism and just how the internet can just be another tool in our toolbox as churches, as we try to reach more people with the good news of Jesus. it means that we can literally be in somebody's home at the click of a button, whether it's a Facebook post or whether it's a video, or whether it's a Sunday morning service. And I think for us as a church, actually, as we have been over the past 12 months, as we've been preaching, actually knowing that what we're saying and might be heard by someone that isn't already connected to us, somebody that hasn't made a commitment to Jesus, or somebody that doesn't know really about Jesus. I think that's been a great, I guess, provocation for us as regular preachers, actually to be persistently and consistently asking the question on Sunday mornings: if you haven't encountered Jesus, then this is your opportunity. If you haven't encountered this God of love, then there's an opportunity for you right now. And I think if we were to look on our church services back over the past 12 months compared to the 12 months previous, I think there'd be a lot more opportunities that we've given for people to respond to that question, whether it be an opportunity to say, yeah, I want to accept Jesus as my Lord and Saviour, or whether it be an opportunity just to pray for healing, or whether it's whatever opportunity it is for people to engage in some way. And so that sort of evangelistic edge, I think it's a great provocation for us, knowing that what we're saying, it's not just the people in front of us, in like they would be on like it would have been 12, 14 months ago. It's just the people in the congregation generally that are going to hear what you're saying, but actually knowing that what you're saying may go out to that person that is at that moment really struggling, or that person at that moment that needs just a touch of God in their lives, that they need that bit of hope that we have experienced in Jesus, and they too can experience that as they're sat there on their settee, or as they're just praying actually as leaders and in our leadership teams, that people encounter God, and the people go that extra mile just to receive Jesus into their lives. And there's nothing better than God breaking through in situation. There's nothing better in a hopeless situation being turned upside down, where the God of hope, the God of joy, the God of peace breaks into lives. And we've known and we've experienced this, and you will have as well. And the more people that experience this, the better. And the internet is just another great tool that we can use as churches to allow the God of love that we know just to invade other people's lives. The truth is, there's no way of knowing every household that your message is going to go into. There's no way of knowing every person that's going to listen or watch or see that encouraging Bible verse that you've posted that they need just at that time. There's no way of knowing, but that I think that should be a spur in itself to encourage us to do those things, because that one Bible verse or that one message might be just at the right time, just in the right place. And life as a Christian isn't meant to be alone, is it? It's meant to be in community. It's meant to be with others. You're meant to have an opportunity to encourage one another, as Paul challenges us to do, to constantly encourage one another on a daily basis. And so, as Aaron was saying about sort of engaging with people as you would in person, actually doing that on social media, on in the internet is just as important as well. Because Jesus went to places where people were at. He went, when he got his disciples, where did he go? He went and found them. He went and met with them where they were doing their work. When he encountered the woman at the well, where did he encounter her? Where she was going to be in her day-to-day activities. And we as churches, actually, the internet is just another way of us going where people are at. There's people spend so much time on social media, so much time watching YouTube videos. My daughter just spends time just watching people play video games on YouTube, and it's just ridiculous stuff that people watch, and yet we've got this wonderful message of Jesus Christ and it's so much better than somebody playing a video game, or is so much life-giving than somebody drawing something. And we've got it, and people need to hear it. So let me encourage you, whatever the next steps are for you, actually, you don't have to do everything all at once. We don't have to go from zero to hero. We can, I think now, yes, I think 12 months ago, we had, as Aaron said at the beginning, we had to sort of find our way around things. But now I think is time that we as churches get a level head on things. We think, right, how can we do this strategically? How can we do it well? And how can we do it so that we're going to see that the good news of Jesus impacting our town and potentially our nation and internationally as well. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? That people can engage wherever they are, wherever they're doing. So we've probably said a lot in the last sort of half an hour. I guess it's a year, the last year of our learning curve that has happened over the past 12 months, crammed into this session. And if it's just a little takeaway that you've taken, that you're going to take away today, I hope that it's going to be something helpful, or you just feel encouraged by it. You think, yes, we're going to push for this, or we're going to carry on doing this. If you've been feeling a bit deflated lately after 12 months of trying to push things through, then I just want to encourage you this evening to actually just keep going, get people around you, get people alongside you that are going to stand with you, that are going to champion you, that are going to encourage you, and encourage this wonderful tool at the end of the day that we have. So I'm going to ask if there's any questions about any of what Aaron or I have shared. So if there is, just unmute yourself and you can ask away. Reverend Adnam first, and then we'll go to you, Julia. Adnan, sorry.
Okay. First of all, thank you much to both of you. You have resonated everything which I've just forgotten. I was just focusing my Farsi, Urdu, English Bible study every other day during a week. And I asked people to help me to put stuff on the Facebook. But now I will balance my ministry to visit Facebook and everything, and Instagram. Thank you so much.
Thank you, a pleasure. Julia?
Yeah, again, thank you very much. It's been insightful. And my only concern from our point of view is that Rebecca, who was going to be on tonight, but she wasn't able to, she does all our media and social media. She's an ALM in communication, and but she works full time. So she really needs to get a team around her. And I think at the moment, she's the only one that accesses the Facebook page and is the admin to it. So we really need to work out how we can get other people involved to help her, because there's so much more that we can be doing. But as I say, she's just not got the time, and it will wear her out, like you said earlier. So that's my only concern. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, that it's not that easy to get a team around you, as it is with volunteers with a lot of things. But it's definitely food for thought. Thank you.
Yeah, no, the good thing about social media as well is that you can share those admin roles as well, can't you? So, yeah. So that's helpful.
Yeah, I'll encourage you to do that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think with just to add on that as well, I think that agreeing not policies like a legalistic word, isn't it? But just ways of interacting. I think if you've got different people, say if someone takes Monday and Tuesday, someone takes Wednesday and Thursday, whatever. But being able to sit down and agree and say, oh, actually, these are the kind of things you want to say to people. This is how we want to connect with people. Can take a bit of the pressure off, because I think sometimes people can think, oh, if I'm messaging as the church, if I'm messaging as the Bridge Church, people I'm gonna get it wrong and say something wrong on the church's behalf, or someone asks a difficult question, you think, oh, I don't know if I answer this, if it's the right thing or the wrong thing to say. But I think a good practice with that, when you get more people using the church accounts and things, that to have that discussion of, actually, yeah, these are the kind of things you want to say, and it's more for the difficult responses. I think we went through a stage last year with our YouTube comments where we got a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, there's a couple of individuals that were putting kind of negative or questioning things on and saying, kind of coming on to antagonize a bit in some ways. So we kind of went through a bit of saying, actually, well, these are what we're going to do. I think some of the key things on that were, if something's offensive or hate, then you just block and delete. If something's opinion but kind of questioning, that you initially try and engage, but then if something's just ulterior, that you are still trying to get that connection with people, and kind of working out the ways to do that. But yeah, getting a team and sharing the Lord would be good if you can. Yeah.
Thank you.
I had a quick question. Where, if anywhere, would you see a traditional website, an old-fashioned website fitting into this? Would that just be literally static, pointing people to other things like social media? Like, it would be something that was much more static. Is that what you would see? Is that?
Yeah, I guess different people. It depends what you have on your website first. I think who is your website aimed at? Is it? I think the trouble as churches, sometimes we can try and cover too many bases with one thing, whether that's your social media posts or your website, and we can try and cover. So we want to cover the whole church congregation, and we want to cover visitors, and we want to cover people who are looking to hire the building. And so there's so many sort of elements of things that the website can get confusing, can't it? And can sometimes look old-fashioned as well. I think if websites are not, or information is not up to date, if someone goes on your website and they see a post from 12th September 2002 as your last post, that's not a great advert for what's going on and with it as a church. But I think definitely they can be used as a signpost, because if someone searches, for example, Grace Church Bolton, our website will come up near the top there, and then you direct people from that position to, okay, you want to see what our Sunday morning is. Are you new here? So having something, are you new here? This is what you need to do next, and next steps. Or are you looking to hire a building? Come this way. Are you whatever? Come this way. So I think having that sort of structured plan in place to guide certain groups of people to where you want them to be, and so using that as well to advertise your social media as well. People can see, oh, they're on Facebook, and then click that link. I think it's handy having those links built into your website as well, so people can. Facebook has got an integration now where you can just include the code from your message box on your websites. So if you've got somebody that looks after your website, that's quite simple to do, and so then they can message you directly from your website, which obviously sometimes gets received quicker by someone who's looking after that chat.
Yep. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
I'll just add on that I think now the vast majority of people access websites on their phone. So I don't how far you're on with developing websites, or if people are looking at new websites, one thing to always think about is actually what the mobile site looks like first before the desktop website. If that makes sense, just an extra thing to think about.
I was just going to ask, we have noticed that people from different parts of the world, they watch our videos. So how to handle that situation if anybody wants to contact us, or how to encourage people to contact us?
I think that obviously that's a brilliant thing, isn't it? And I think being able to, first of all, I'd try and celebrate that as much as you can, and acknowledge that, and whether it's through different posts and things like that. Apologies, you can hear a child screaming in the background.
It's okay.
2-year-olds not wanting to go to sleep. But yeah, I think first of all to encourage and celebrate that, I think that's a brilliant thing. And even that there may be a time when there's an element of connection you can have if time zones are different and things like that. And obviously, if it's the following day or things like that, but you maybe messaging people back or having that connection. But maybe a bigger further step down the line is, I know obviously some churches have got things like life groups and small groups in other countries that are led by different people and things like that. So people that are in those time zones, or if there's someone willing to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to run a small group, probably not. But no, yeah, I think I just say, yeah, celebrate and encourage that as much as possible. And obviously there may be limitations with the amount of connection you can have. But yeah, I think one of the things is to encourage as much so connecting with people, encourage as much video calling or phone calling than messaging if people get to that stage and that kind of connection, that the more you can read with people, if you only are going to ever connect with people online, that being able to see their face and connect with them is so much more personal, isn't it, than messaging and phone calling, if you can get to those kind of stages with people.
Mark?
Yeah, I was just sort of going to talk about that a little bit. Those of you who know me will know this is most likely the longest time I've ever been in the United Kingdom. So I'm usually traveling all the time. And this last year has been great because we've been able to reach into countries we've never reached before. One of them was Fiji Islands, of all places, and I worked it out. It would take me 48 hours to get to Fiji, and several £1,000s to get to Fiji as well. And I'm able to get there from my living room, and it don't cost me a penny. And you can still connect with people, and people can still encounter the Lord. And we've also had closed countries as well, like Saudi Arabia and places like Qatar, United Arab Emirates, those kind of countries, and people connecting with us out of those countries as well. And certainly with Saudi, if I went there, the best case scenario would be I get deported. Worst case scenario would be I'd be imprisoned or beheaded, possibly. So in one sense, it's great, again, from the safety of a living room to be able to connect into those nations. And so I think that's been, for me, one of the big plus points of the last year. And after the initial sort of numerous flights being cancelled, and also we had team members stuck in other countries and we couldn't get them back home and all that kind of thing. Once all that had settled down and we got into the rhythm of the online stuff, we were just amazed at where we could reach into. And I know it's not just us. I know that's common experience across churches and ministries. So that I think also is great potential in this season we're in, and coming out of this season to build forwards as well.
Great, thanks, Mark. Last opportunity for any last question. One last question. Rev Adman again.
Okay. In West Bolton team, we got 5 churches, and those who are from Anglican backgrounds, they might have come across to know this. We are going into a very big change from June in a new deanery formation. And this will be a new big initiative again, and this will be a challenge. We don't know, but I got 2 churches in south of Bolton, and there are 3 on the north side of Bolton. They got very potential teams anyway. They got many people, but I got older generation, but very few young people. And most of them are busy with their education or looking for their new jobs. So how would you encourage to help us in future? Or what would be your idea to handle this situation?
I think, I don't know if there might be more people on this call that, rather than us, that might have I guess, more experience with this over the past year. I'm not sure, so I'll give an opportunity for anyone else to chip in a minute with any nuggets of insights. But I think technology can be quite daunting from my experience for older people, especially when it comes to sort of clicking on things they're not sure about, and it can get very confusing quite easily for older people as well. But I'd imagine that there probably are sort of people on the scale of not so old, either just retired or approaching that retirement age. So I think looking at that sort of area of people that are coming up to retirement or have recently retired, that have a bit of time on their hands, and like someone said at the beginning, I think Stephen said about sort of watching YouTube videos and learning. Actually, there's great videos out there that show you how to do things, and if they're sort of okay and au fait with that, but maybe just taking time to work with people and show people things, like I said before, taking things step by step, little by little, and showing someone first how do I post on social media, how to create a social media account, might be the first step, or maybe even further back than that, I don't know. But we've a lot of our older people as well. We've got a sort of a handful of older people as well as mid to young, and a lot of them are active on social media, so they're generally okay with using phones or using technology in that way. It's just trying to encourage that sort of next little step through. You got anything to add, John, Aaron, or anyone else?
Thank you.
Julia?
Yeah, when we're able to meet together again, and social distancing isn't such a problem, what we did before this, at the aforementioned Rebecca, our ALM, she did a course on how to set up a social media account in our little church lounge, and that was quite successful. And a lot of the sort of older generation who, don't know how to use the internet, they found it very interesting and very helpful. So it might be something to think about, that you can get the younger generation to actually help the older ones.
Yeah, I think we've got a senior citizen group that runs at our church, or did run at our church building, and a little while ago they had a class. We've got a school on the back of our church as well, so there was opportunity for the school reached out and said, or we reached out to the school and said, would they fancy bringing some kids over to teach the people how to use tablets and stuff and things like that. So if you've got a school local to you, that might be something that, again, a good way of making contact with other local community groups. So.
Great. Well, listen, I'm going to just jump in here because we've reached 8 o'clock and we said we'd kind of finish up there. I hope you don't mind, but Ian grabbed me by the throat. Just kidding, of course, but wanted to just talk about their role that they're doing with Radio FM. And so we just thought this would be the perfect opportunity. So I'm just going to pray. And again, can I just say thank you to Dave and to Aaron just for your presentation, for giving back questions, answering those well. Listen, Dave, I'm sure and Aaron, you'll nod when I say this, but listen, if you've got any other questions, you've got the emails. By all means, just keep in contact with them, send them emails, and I'm sure they'd be happy to get back and respond to that. But let me just pray for them and pray for you. And then I'm just going to give over to Ian and to Graham just for 5 more minutes, just to talk about Radio FM and how that can help us perhaps as well. So let's just pray to finish. Heavenly Father, we just want to say thank you for all that we're all gleaning all the time. And Lord, we're all at different levels, but we just say thank you for Dave and Aaron and all that they've gleaned. And I just ask that some of those nuggets that have been passed on tonight, we'd be able to grab a hold of. And Father, they would just enhance what we're able to do in serving our church and serving our community. I just love what was talked about. Father, may in this time of COVID, may our vision expand. Lord, may we not shrink back, but may we take new ground and step forward. May it expand our vision. And Lord, where we can just use this to get more people serving, more people helping, more people involved, just in very practical ways, building team, Lord, let that happen so that the weight of this doesn't fall on these guys, but actually there's more people carrying the weight and the flag of church online and church media. So God, just bless these guys. Let them see much fruit come out as a result of tonight, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So again, thank you, Dave and Aaron. Just really appreciate that. Guys, can I ask you just to hold on for 5 more minutes? And I'm just going to pass on over to Ian. Listen, Ian and Graham, off you go. Thank you.
Okay. I hope you can see my screen. Thank you. Well, I hope it wasn't me that grabbed you by the throat, because it was Keith that asked me to
exactly,
do it.
Yeah.
It was Keith that asked me to do it. So I hope people want this. So there you go. Very quickly, very quickly, I just want to run through what we've been doing in terms of the radio and how you can get involved. When lockdown first started, one of the things was that we'd been presenting the radio show since 2010 in the evening, and we saw an opportunity primarily at the start, just thinking about something small and something local, just for our own churches. Wouldn't it be good to use the radio as a means to actually put out worship on a Sunday? The first week we did it on the evening, and it was extremely popular, well received. And the radio station said, no, we're going to put it out at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, which was brilliant, perfect timing. And from then it has grown to the point that now we're not only on the air on Sunday morning, but particularly during the main Christian seasons, we did worship on Maundy Thursday, worship on Good Friday, a whole bunch of stuff over Christmas, a whole bunch of stuff over Easter, which was wonderful. Again, we did Maundy Thursday in the evening, we did Good Friday on the morning, and to actually lead worship in that effectively secular environment was a real privilege. In terms of the listenership, obviously Bolton FM has no RAJA. We don't know how many are listened. So the way they gauge it is by how many people are actually listening online. And typically Bolton FM has about 30 to 40 people listening online. During lockdown, that's risen to 40, 50. By week 3 of doing this, we broke their limit in terms of the hosting, which was 150. And by week 5, we were over 200. And even now, we are averaging 208 online listeners a week. Now, the way that they've always gauged that is that each one of those online listeners equates to about 100 people. Now, I refuse to believe that that's the percentage must be different for us. It doesn't include the number of people listening on smart speakers, and it doesn't include the number of people listening on the radio. I think the best estimate is 2,000 to 3,000 people listening every week. But it may well be, if you follow their standard model, that it's higher than that. We don't know. We don't know. But the real privilege of this is that it means that we are being able to preach the gospel, and we are being able to pray for people in their homes, rather than them coming to us, with about 2,000 to 3,000 Bolton residents every week. And that is a fantastic privilege and a fantastic opportunity in terms of what we do. In terms of, other things that have gone on around the station, we've been trying very much to build up links with other people. We've built up links with schools, and we've had schools contributing material, particularly before Christmas. We had a show that was entirely generated from a number of young people from all around Bolton, giving their ideas about Christmas and what they do. Both Sue and I, over the weeks, different months, have told our testimonies, both to great responses. We have used this to the best that we can. Ofcom says that we cannot proselytize, but within that limit, we've tried the best that we can to share the good news and to share the gospel with the people of Bolton. And it is a fantastic opportunity. For those of you who've listening, you'll know that in many ways, it's a traditional format. It's 6 pieces of music. Some of it's traditional, some of it's very modern. We try to get the latest and greatest in terms of what the modern Christian music is out there. We have an informal chat section. We have a preach with guest speakers. We have prayers where we're praying for people on the front line, for the NHS, teachers, urban outreach, the people of Bolton, all of that. Keith Armstrong comes along and does the notices, including a joke, which he always begins with, which is, you know, part of his way of doing it. The preachers have included the list that's there. A number of you who are here, we're delighted to have had so many of you coming in and preaching. I'm sorry, that was a list that I quickly put up. I apologize. There's people like Mark Curtis, I know he's here, who's preached for us more than once. We're so grateful for him. And it's just really good to get all of these different voices feeding in and preaching the gospel to the people of Bolton. So I guess the thing to plug is we are here to be part of the Church of Bolton. We are here to be used. We're here to give people an opportunity to come and preach. If people who are listening and haven't preached want to come and preach, please do. If there is things you want to advertise, please tell us so that we can get that on. We would love to have more content. We would love churches and worship groups in churches to actually record music that we can use on air. And I have mentioned this to the 2030 leaders, and people were keen, but we haven't had that yet. We've had very little music that's been generated, and we've got some brilliant musicians. You know, what a great way to advertise what's going on in your church and in your church family than to say, you know, this is our worship group. This is what we can offer. This is, if you come and worship with us, this is what we encounter. But it's also about the other folk that will never walk through our doors. And it's the privilege of being able to touch their lives with the gospel and, you know, to give a means whereby they can hear the good news of Jesus Christ, which is what it's all about. Now, Bolton FM has other things. It has the Thought That Counts. Again, I know many of you do in the morning. The Spirit of Bolton on Sunday evening. This is Bolton, which happens during the week. There are so many opportunities to actually get what we're doing out there, and they are always looking for content. So, you know, they are there as a resource to be used. In terms of the way that we go forward, we know that our challenge is at the moment, sometimes people have said, and rightly, what you're offering is Christian entertainment. We know that. What we are seriously looking at is how can we move from being just Christian entertainment to genuinely making disciples, because that's what we believe that we're about. And that means building up community. That means making links with people who are out. And very often, you know, we have no idea who they are. They are sitting in their houses, they are listening to this. But one of the great things is that we're hearing stories of the impact that it's having on people's lives, which is really encouraging. You know, we get to preach the gospel, we get to pray with people. It's a wonderful resource. And we just want people to, as a church in Bolton, and as everybody in all the churches in Bolton, to own this, to be a part of it and to use it, because it's just such a good way of telling people what it is that we do, of telling people that the church is not just alive, but thriving. And our God is at work in Bolton and has a great story to tell. So please, please, not just pray for us. We'd love you all to be a part of it.
Great, Ian, thank you. I just think, you know, especially with what we're doing now is so much, you know, being church online and having so much being recorded, you know, if we could make some of that stuff perhaps available to Ian and to the team, that might be just be a great way of supporting them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I love the idea of the
I'm just
worship.
looking around, seeing so many people here who've preached for us, you know.
Yeah.
Jill, I don't know how many times you preached for us. I think you may be about top of our list.
Right. I enjoy doing it, actually.
Mm.
It's nice to sort of get it out a bit further than just the few people at church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And John's preached, and Julia's preached, and Mark's preached, and yeah, it's great. So if other people would like to preach, you know, what an opportunity. People sitting at home on a Sunday morning, and you get to preach the good news to them.
Great. Listen, if anybody needs to get,
sorry, I'm enthusiastic, but I am. It's
yeah.
good.
If anybody needs to get Ian's email or phone number, just email me and I can get that and pass that on. But again, this is where other teams come in. So it might not be you and I doing it, but we might have part of our music team or our kids team that might be able to contribute stuff.
Yeah.
You know, let's tell them about it, that there's opportunities. So
good stuff.
Guys,
you're gonna have to forgive me. I need to go back to my other meeting.
We're going to finish off right now as well. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. God bless. Take care. And every success and blessing on you as you keep going forward over these next months and year. God
Cheers,
bless. Good
Thanks,
night.
mate.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey
Bye.
guys, good to see you all.